I am very excited to be switching gears now, going to our unit on astronomy. I bet you are too. I will actually come back to, hopefully I'll remember to make a own little recording about this cool program called Stellarium. And it's free, so I'll mention it now. Stellarium.org. It's a downloadable program that you can see where the stars are at. And when I say downloadable, I mean downloadable to your PC, your computer at home, not to your smartphones or whatever. So one of the things I haven't emphasized yet is that if you're wanting to, by the way, we're starting at part 2 instead of part 1, like I mentioned in class the other day. If you're wanting to know in the textbook where to look to see what we're talking about, they are actually on the first slide. So this part 2, we're looking in your textbook chapters 16, 17, and 18. So let's see what we got. So this is just, I thought, a very pretty figure. Now, in astronomy, to me, one of the things that I still struggle with is this a photograph or is this a figure, a drawing? And this is actually just a figure. But in this first part, I just want to, actually it's part 2, but I want to kind of become oriented what our solar system looks like. And a lot of this stuff you already know. So I'll just put up the first 4 things in our solar system. So over here we have the sun. And one of the things I want you to know with this kind of basic look at astronomy is what are the order of the planets. So we have, let me sure I got this right. We have Mercury, then we have Venus, and then we have Earth, and then we have Mars. And actually these guys are what we call the inner planets. They are inner, and sometimes they are collectively called the terrestrial planets. Terrestrial, and sometimes they are called the rocky planets. Okay, goodness, they had 3 names. I hadn't thought of that before. Okay, so I actually, in this part later on, I talk a little bit about each planet, each planet except for Earth. But Mercury, one of the things about it is it has no moon. Poor Mercury. Okay, Venus also has no moon, and it's about the size of the Earth. Earth, actually, of the planets, it's in what we call the Goldilocks zone from the sun, which means with regard to water, water actually is in its liquid state and solid and gaseous state on Earth. So that's pretty unique. And Earth, of course, has, 1 moon. Mars is a very busy planet. We'll see when we talk about it. It has a lot of actually rovers running around on it. And it's a bit smaller than the Earth. And Mars has 2 moons, although they are only moons that a mother planet could love. They are very ugly, not compared to our moon. We think they are captured moons. And then after Mars, we have what's called the asteroid belt. And so you can kind of see these crumblies here. That's the asteroid belt. So kind of get a sense for where things are. And then the next set I'm going to show you are the next set of 4 planets, and they kind of go in pairs. So we have, let's see, out here, this guy right here, this is Jupiter, and then we have Saturn, and then we have Uranus, and then we have Neptune. And the thing about, I mentioned they kind of go in pairs, Jupiter and Saturn are kind of similar in composition and color, and Uranus and Neptune are similar in composition and color. But the thing that they all have in common is these are our gas giants. Okay, so the thing is, if you were to go visit one of these planets, if you want to stand on something, you'd want to go to one of their moons that are orbiting them. If you want to stand on the surface of the planet, you can't because it's gas. Let's see what else we got. Well, Jupiter is actually the largest of the 8 planets, and Jupiter at last count had 67 moons. We'll talk about 4 of those moons around Jupiter actually called Galilean moons, because guess what? Galileo actually was the person who turned his telescope and could see those moons. Saturn is, the thing about Saturn is its rings. Actually, all of these gas giants have rings, but its rings are most beautiful, 62 moons, so we're talking lots of moons. One of the moons around Saturn is called Titan, and actually that's quite interesting. Actually, Titan has been visited by a rover, or I guess just a spacecraft, a lander maybe of sorts. Then we have the 2 blue planets. Jupiter and Saturn are kind of orangish red, and then we have Uranus and Neptune, which are kind of blue, and they're blue for the same reason. They have methane that makes them blue. Uranus has 27 moons, Neptune has 13 moons. So one of the things about these gas giants is they all tend to have moons, okay, which is not an accident. As they were formed, that was kind of a natural consequence of how that worked.